Hey, welcome back to Stay Tuned with Mikey and Chad. I'm Mikey.
I'm Chad.
And got a good show today. We're going to talk to Bob Kravitz, senior writer with The Athletic, formerly with Indy Star. Man, there's a lot to talk to him about, buddy. I don't know if we can fit it all in one segment.
I don't think so. I totally agree. This guy, he's a love him or hate him. He's a Central Indiana name. Really in the sports world and this racing world, and he does a little bit of everything. He seems to kind of dabble in everything, sports related or racing related.
Yeah, and obviously, he became, I guess, famous nationwide for breaking the Deflategate story back in 2015. It's been 6 years and people are still talking about it. So, that was huge. So we're going to have him on, and hope you guys enjoy. And welcome back. And we have a special guest. We have Bob Kravitz, senior writer for The Athletic, formerly with the Indy Star, WTHR, ESPN. I don't know what the hell all you've done in your career. It's been a storied career, though, man. So thank you for coming on and joining us.
My pleasure, guys. My pleasure.
Absolutely. So I wanted to talk to you first about, I know it's been a couple weeks since it's come out. It's kind of died down a little bit, but the Malice of the Palace documentary, I know that you had pitched to ESPN a few years ago about doing a 30 for 30 on it. And I was really shocked that they never did one on it. And
I'll tell you, I can tell you why. They because they're in business with the NBA, and right. The NBA doesn't want that sort of history being brought back out. And as I was told by somebody at ESPN who I was talking with about this subject, they said the NBA would never let us do it.
Yeah.
Which tells you all you need to know. I have great admiration for ESPN, but when you're in bed with certain leagues, I think it affects your journalistic judgment.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to ask you about it. I know you interviewed the guys that did the documentary. Were there any insights that you got from them about? Because I feel like most of us that were around, and obviously you, because you covered so much of it, there wasn't a whole lot of new information in the documentary, but it was nice to see. I feel like it was fairly unbiased. They didn't really paint the Pacers as thugs, which they were for 7-8 years. They didn't paint the Pistons really in a bad light. They did it fairly equally. It was blame on both sides,
Yeah, anytime something like that happens, the culpability it goes across the board. I thought they did. I could have watched an hour and a half, 2 hours, rather than 69 minutes, to be honest. But I thought they did a good job of getting into Ron Artest's mindset at the time, and even his current mindset, where he talks about how he feels like a coward whenever he's around Jermaine. And I thought all the stuff with Jermaine was really intriguing. Steven Jackson I've talked to several times over the years about some of these things. But yeah, I thought it was really well done, and I didn't think it painted a bad picture. I think it painted a bad picture of everybody involved,
sure, yeah,
in some way, in shape, and form. But I think it humanized everybody as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because I know you reached out to a lot of the Pacers, and even the guy that threw the cup. You reached out to his lawyer. Yeah. Why would they not? They couldn't. They really didn't want to talk to you, but why all of a sudden? What is it? 5 years after you, or 6 years, whatever after? Why are they all of a sudden willing now to talk about it?
Well, the guy who threw the cup, John Green.
Yeah.
He only had one interview, I think, with maybe ESPN or a Detroit affiliate. I'm not quite sure, but he didn't talk to the Way brothers who did this documentary.
Yeah.
I was told. Actually, I wasn't told. I was asked, how much am I willing to pay? And I said, this conversation is over.
Right. That's
not the way it works in my business.
Yeah.
So, that ended that. But, they had the same problems with John Green, who just seems like an all-around crappy guy.
No, you can totally tell he is.
You brought up the guys that did the documentary, and you interviewed them. Did they, when they were speaking to you about it, did they seem, as they were going through the process of your interview, did they talk about, wanting to keep an equal light and not paint a negative picture toward the Pacers, or did they give you any kind of assurance of that, or is that just the way that the story kind of turned?
No, I think it's the way the story kind of came out. Keep in mind that in modern day documentarianism, it's a long ass word. You have people like Jordan was an executive producer on The Last Dance. Well, Jermaine was an executive producer on this particular documentary.
I knew that.
So
that's great news.
Yeah, so in order sometimes to get the cooperation of the people that you need to get cooperation from, Ron Artest, Steven Jackson, J.O., all that, you have to kind of go into business with them. So I don't think it's true journalism as we like to think of it, but it sure as hell is entertaining. And I think it was a pretty accurate depiction of the way things went down and the way that it impacted people.
Yeah.
Have you happened to speak to Reggie since that documentary came out? Just out of curiosity.
I haven't. We did a story on Rick Carlisle, and my colleague John Krasinski talked to Reggie a little bit about the importance of getting Carlisle back. But I haven't talked. Reggie's a hard guy. We have a great relationship, but he's just a hard guy to get in touch with. It's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah. Understanding that's just kind of something that I've always been curious about. If he's, since it's came out, if he's done much, as far as interviews or talked much about the documentary.
Sure. I'm guessing it was probably a one and done, because I reached out to him many years ago, and he's like, no, I'm not talking about that ever again. Well, he did. Of course, there's a difference between Bob Kravitz, mid-level columnist, versus the Wade brothers, who did Wild Wild West on Netflix and have a real gravitas about them. So, it wasn't going to happen with me.
Well, I mean, hey, I'll give it to you. That actually brings me to another topic that I wasn't going to discuss, but I obviously know Robin Miller passed away last week, and really when I was growing up in the mid '90s, it was really you, Robin, and Bill Benner that I would have to read every single day, every single week. I'm 13, 14 years old or whatever. What was your relationship with Robin like? Did you guys have a cordial relationship? Did you know him really well?
Well, I got here in 2000, and Bill was already here, and Robin was already here, but Robin got let go short. I mean, when I got here, they sent me to Sydney, Australia for the Olympics. And then when I got back about a couple of weeks later, Robin was fired. Yeah. And so I never really got to know Robin that closely. Now, over the years, we became more friendly. I don't think I was ever his favorite dude. I think part of it is that I'm not a motorsports guy. Yeah. But, late in his life, the last couple of years, Robin has been an absolutely, I can't tell you how helpful he's been to me on several stories. I'll tell him, hey, I want to do a piece on Alexander Rossi for The Athletic. And he'd give me 6 names and numbers of drivers and mechanics and owners. And he became very, very helpful down the road. Now, whether that's because he started to like me better or just hated Doyle, I have no idea.
Well, that dude, literally, he was an encyclopedia of racing, and he had every contact in the world. Anybody you'd want, he knew. So yeah, it was sad to see him go, and
it was.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
I want to bring up a topic. It's an older topic, but it's one that's still for us Colts fans, obvious's stays in the limelight. Deflategate, obviously something that's always going to stay apart.
Sorry.
That's okay. It'll be on my epitaph, on my gravestone.
the guy that broke Deflategate.
How much pride did you take in being the one that in reality broke the Deflategate
the
story at the time?
A lot. Even though breaking stories is not really the primary job of a columnist, if you're a beat reporter, then yeah, you want to break every story possible. As a columnist, it's like, well, if you kind of fall across something, then you'll break it. Back in the day with the Colts, I broke a number of stories, especially with respect to Peyton Manning. But yeah, I took pride in it. Because look, I knew when I got the information and then got it confirmed, I knew if I didn't post it, whatever it was, 12:45 p.m. Eastern time, in a hotel room in where was it? Rhode Island. After the game, I knew Schefter would have it the next day, or Mortensen, or Clayton, or whoever, Peter King. People always give me crap and say, well, you said they were using deflated footballs. I said, no, try to follow here. I wrote that they were being investigated for possibly using deflated footballs.
Right.
There's a big ass difference right there.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm proud of it. Some of the things I wrote and said afterwards, I got a little too far over my skis, and I wish I hadn't gone there. But hey, you live and you don't learn. Right.
It happens. But so looking back on it, do you think that there was any actual cheating going on, or was it just they happened to be using balls that maybe have been slightly? I don't know, because I remember reading it that night, and I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, they're going to replay the game. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. But in the grand scheme of things, we lost 45-7 or something like that.
Yeah, 48-7.
Or 48-7. I'm sorry. Would it really have made that much of a difference in the grand scheme of things?
But that doesn't matter. It's like if you take steroids as a baseball player.
Yeah.
And you still hit 187 with 3 home runs. It doesn't diminish the fact that you tried to cheat with steroids.
Yeah, that's true.
The fact that that the game was not impacted. They could have played with a shuttlecock, as Dwayne Allen I think said. That makes no difference. Do I think something untoward happened? Yeah, I do. Was Tom Brady directly involved? I think he was involved. In an effort to cover it up, or at least not be as forthcoming as he should have been. I think we'll find out someday from those ball boys, those trainers, equipment managers, I should say.
Yeah.
At some point, they're gonna come clean.
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear. That's something that I've always had a question about, and you being who you are and being so involved with the Colts organization and different things, it's something that I've wanted to have an opportunity to ask you about, and I thank you very much for elaborating on that a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people out there that are always concerned, about did they cheat, didn't they cheat, how did they cheat, why did they cheat, and with me, like you said, they 48-7. Footballs, frozen footballs, wet footballs that were perfect. We were just outmatched in that game. I'm the biggest Colts fan that there is, but we were just outplayed in that game.
Right. Right. No, nobody suggested that whether they were deflated football or not, that had any impact on the game. Like I said before, they could have played with a rugby ball. They could have played with a hockey puck. It doesn't matter. New England was going to win that game handily. But if you attempt to alter the competitive, the competitive status of the game, then that's a problem.
Yeah, right.
That is a problem. It's like watering down the field, like they do at Notre Dame. Like watering down the field before a team with speed comes in, or growing the grass. There are certain things you can do and certain things you can't do, and I think deflating footballs comes under the heading of things you can't do.
Right. Yeah. We'll get away from that. We'll go to the Colts now. There's been so much going on in the past couple he it's been insane. The whole vaccination thing. He and I are on different sets here. I think that as the starting quarterback of a professional football team, if you're not vaccinated, you've got the close contact thing, whatever, you might be out for 10 days. I feel like that's just, to me, that's selfish. And, I understand that, it's your body, your choice, you do whatever the hell you want, but not. I feel like not when you're the starting quarterback of an NFL team.
I tend to agree with you. I think you have a responsibility, just like, you should do what, you should be responsible to your peers.
Yeah.
And, these guys are, DeForest Buckner, who is vaccinated, and other guys have, made great sacrifices to, get ready for this season. Mm-hmm. And if you end up being the guy who upends, I honestly believe this, guys. I think the Colts are in danger of missing the playoffs altogether because of this issue.
Yes.
I think all things being normal, they're an 11-6, 10-7 team. It's so weird not adding it up to 16.
I know, right?
But because of this, because we don't know how many games Darius Leonard is going to miss, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, the list goes on. Carson Wentz, obviously, we don't know, and that's going to be a problem. And the backup quarterback. I know everybody's tired of me saying they should have gone out and gotten Minshew or Foles, but do you really want to play a huge game against a playoff contender with Jake Eason?
No,
Jacob Eason. That scares me to death. So I think, look, I'm not ready to conflate a lack of care with his desire not to get vaccinated. I don't know that I think it makes him selfish, but it doesn't make him a selfish person, if that makes any damn sense. I don't know that it does or not. But, I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's misinformed.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at.
Okay, misinformed. And then today they're talking to Wentz and Darius Leonard, and they were saying, well, they need more information. I'm just sitting there thinking, what the hell? Do you need Anthony Fauci to come to your damn house?
That's what I saw. I saw his little press conference he gave today. He's like, well, we still need information. We're still not sure about it. It's like, what more do you need, man? Like, just...
I know. It's approved by the FDA now.
I know.
The whole pandemic now is among the unvaccinated. Over 96, 97% of people who are in hospitals or have died from the variant are unvaccinated.
Sure.
I don't know what other numbers you need.
Right.
So, whatever. I'll respect their decision, but I'm going to slam the crap out of them.
You can say shit. It's fine.
Okay, good. I'm going to slam the shit out of them when their season goes south because their leaders are not vaccinated.
That's my only thing is, I understand it might be selfish for me to say, well, shit, my Colts are going to be 3-14 this year because a few very key guys didn't get vaccinated. And what is it with... I'm wondering why it's like... I feel like every other team has most of the guys are vaccinated. What is it about Indy that... I feel like we have more guys on our team that haven't been vaccinated than any other team.
It actually is. I heard a statistic today, I believe, that said that the Colts were 10% of the 13% that weren't vaccinated in the NFL.
Well, they're 75% of the team is vaccinated, and the average throughout the NFL is 93.
Yeah.
So the Colts, they're either last in vaccinations or they're damn close. And, why that is, it's a great mystery to me. I know that a lot of Hoosiers are not vaccinated, but, these guys are from everywhere, from all walks of life. So you can't say it's just an Indiana thing.
Right.
I think there's a religious element to it. I've noticed that a lot of some of the evangelicals have decided, like Kirk Cousins and some others, have decided not to do it. Nick Foles, there's a lot. I guess there's some reasons, but damn it, I can't figure out what they're.
Is that maybe where Carson or Darius or some of these other guys that aren't vaccinated? Is it stemming from a religious standpoint? Like Like a Kirk Cousins?
I think with Carson, I don't know what Darius. I don't know what Darius, honestly, but I guess. I don't know for sure because Carson has not gone into any detail as to why he's decided not to get vaccinated.
He seems to be pretty steadfast about it, too.
What's that?
He seems to be pretty steadfast about not getting vaccinated. So you ultimately...
He did say today it's a fluid situation and it keeps him up at night.
I feel like that's bullshit, though.
I kind of doubt that.
I feel like
hopefully he sees the light.
I feel like if he's staying up at night, he's not practicing very damn hard.
I feel like everything he said today was bullshit, though. Like to me, it was saying what everyone wanted, not exactly what everyone wanted to hear, but kind of keeping it safe, and that's how it seemed to me. But
yeah, I agree.
So Greg Doyle was on the Fan Morning Show today. God, he's something else. But he was saying that religion has nothing to do with this. They're just being selfish, and that's where I'm at too. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think it's a religious thing. Like my parents go to church and stuff. They got vaccinated. I don't think that's a thing. I think people.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, it's not. To me, it's not a political thing. It's not a religious thing. It's a public health thing.
Yes.
You know, I mean, there's a reason why we don't have polio anymore. It's because we developed a vaccine and got rid of it.
And it was not political back then. Everyone just got it, and now it's gone. And big shocker.
You know, half this country's half crazy. So that's the only thing I could come up with.
That's true.
I have to agree. I think half the country is half crazy. It might be more than half these days.
I hope not.
I want to sway away a little bit from the vaccine topic with the Colts, you know, and move into. Obviously, you're always around. You see a lot of things in practices and in the preseason games that we've had. You know, vaccine aside, how do the Colts look roster-wise? I mean, do they look like a team that could make a run deep in the playoffs to you, or is it?
They do. First, I'll start with the negative. The areas that really concern me are wide receiver, and I would have said that even before T.Y. Hilton got hurt. I just don't know who their alpha dog is going to be.
Mike Strawn.
Yeah, Mike Strawn.
Hey, I like him.
And Rocky Sin has just never impressed me. He looks good in practice. He looks good in camp. But by God, you turn the lights on and he just doesn't produce.
Yep.
So that third quarterback spot concerns me. I think they'll be okay when it comes to the pass rush. I think Kwity Paye has a real chance to be Defensive Rookie of the Year.
He's lining it up, man.
I think he's that good.
Yeah,
he's lining it up.
I've argued for Kwity Paye.
Yeah. I do think that they have a really good roster. I mean, their running game is going to be phenomenal. You know, I think Wentz is going to be more than good enough when he can, play. The offensive line is what it is. And I think defensively, they're going to be really good. I mean, I think this is a top 10 defense last year, and I think they could be really elite.
Yeah.
Except for that one spot that kind of puts a little fear into me. But otherwise, no, I think they're going to be really, really good. Special teams is good.
When do you see Eric Fisher coming back?
Don't know. They say he's already doing some rehab. I don't. I would be guessing if I gave you a time.
T.Y.
Oh, T.Y. Okay.
We're just wishing Reggie back.
I need Reggie back. That's what I need. T.Y. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, they're saying just a couple of weeks. It turned out to be kind of a best case scenario. They were really worried that it was going to be a major surgery and that he would be out half the season. But I mean, they're saying 3 weeks. But everybody's different. I mean, Carson came back after just 3-4 weeks of a 5 to 12 week injury, and Andrew Luck never came back. So you don't know how a guy is going to respond.
Yeah.
I'm curious about our safety position. How does Julian Blackmon look back there?
He looks great.
Does he look like that star that we all thought he could be?
Yeah. Well, keep in mind he he started out like a house on fire last year.
Yeah.
And he leveled off a little bit. I think he kind of hit that rookie wall a little bit. But I think Julian Blackmon's going to be terrific. And I really like Kari Willis. I think they've got good depth. I think George Odom, who is mostly known as a special teams guy, but is a good safety. I think they're in good shape at that position.
Is TJ Carey somebody that we can lean on a little bit when it comes to the passing defense? Is he somebody that you feel like could step up and be that number 2 shutdown corner?
Well, I don't know if he's going to be, along with Kenny Moore and Xavier Rhodes, I don't know if he's going to be that third corner. But I think in the dime he'll be very useful. Can he outplay Rock Ya-Sin? At times in preseason, I thought that he did. But now he's having his own issues with COVID, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see what happens with him. But I've always liked T.J. Carey as a player. I thought he played well last year.
Yeah, he seems like a real hard-nosed kind of player. One of those guys that he ain't scared to get his nose in there and get a little dirty every once in a while. And maybe that's something that I've kind of gravitated to with those kind of players over the course of my life and watching the Colts.
I was going to ask you I feel like the running back depth chart is really it's a good thing to have 4 great running backs. I'm just wondering how they're going to use all 4 of them. This year. I feel like Taylor's probably going to be the lead back. After that, I have no idea.
Well, Taylor will be the lead back. I would bet you Marlon Mack is kind of the odd man out. I think they're going to use a lot of Naheem.
Yeah.
Both, they used him mostly in the passing game in previous years, but I would certainly bet that he's going to be used more in the running game.
Yeah.
And, here's the amazing thing is, Jordan Wilkins is your 4th running back, right? You know what he averages?
5 yards a carry.
4.9 yards per carry.
Yeah.
That's your 4th guy.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I think their running game really ought to be good. It's just a matter of getting Fisher back and Quentin, and Quentin was back today, but they got to be healthy.
Well, I talked to Kevin Bowen I think a week or 2 ago about possibly using. He and I are the only ones that think this. Possibly using Marlon Mack as some kind of trade bait. Like I said, it's obviously already the depth chart's already it's so deep right now. What are your thoughts about possibly doing something with Mack?
I'd move Marlon Mack in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I really like the guy, and I thought he was a heck of a player. But I have a hard time seeing him as the same type of running back that we saw a couple of years ago. He suffered a pretty serious injury.
Yeah.
And, you know how running backs are, man. They just don't last very long.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be another guy like Joe Adai or whoever who's in the league 3, 4, 5 years, and then that's kind of it. But, yeah, I would certainly look at Marlon Mack as trade bait.
And that sucks because, I remember, we haven't had a really strong a solid running back for many years since Edge. We had a Dyer, we had Donald Brown, we had all these guys.
Brown.
Yeah, well, all these guys have lasted for a couple of years, give you some bright moments, but never really had that bell cow back that we've needed. I feel like Taylor might actually be that guy.
He is that guy. And let me tell you something. I don't know if you've been out to camp or we're out of camp. Taylor looks phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
He looks like he's picked up from where he left off last year and took a step forward, if that's possible.
Yeah.
He looks really, really good.
Yeah, and that's amazing because I feel like you could put Taylor in the backfield. You could put Hines probably in the slot position, I feel like.
You can put him anywhere.
Yeah.
I think Hines, there's a guy, I'm showing my age, there's a guy I covered in Cleveland named Eric Metcalf.
I know the name.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was just, and I think he was number 21, and he was just a guy. He was like a scat back.
Yeah.
You could use him on the fly sweep. You could use him on bubble screens. You could use him, over the middle. And he could run deep. Yeah. And I just think that's the kind of player that he is going to be.
Yeah.
He was kind of like Ronnie Brown with the Dolphins a few years back.
Right.
You could, when they started the whole Wildcat, he was one of those guys that could really play any position you wanted him to because he was athletic enough and had enough fortitude to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's a hell of a player, and he's a guy you root for. He's a good human being.
Where do you see Jordan Wilkins fitting in all this?
I could see him in short yardage situations, but I really have a hard time seeing him get not even a handful of handoffs at the most.
Kind of that 1 to 5 maybe carries a game kind of thing.
Yeah, I just think he's going to be somebody who, if somebody's gassed, he'll get in there, or maybe on 4th down. I feel like I should go out and get myself my a Heineken from my refrigerator.
Please,
join you guys.
Go for it.
By all means.
Go for it.
This is the first podcast I've ever done with the host drinking beer. I like it.
Go.
We like to have a good time and talk to incredible people like you, Bob.
There you go, buddy.
I feel like I could ask you questions for days. I don't even know what I'm. So, at this point for the Colts, it's like I see Wentz. I could see him missing weeks and weeks because of the stupid COVID thing, and it's like if he does miss, can Eason handle that load? I mean, I don't see that happening at all.
No, I don't. And look, people have talked themselves into Jacob Eason. Let me tell you something. Jacob Eason's got a hell of an arm.
Yeah.
He ain't nowhere near an NFL quarterback. And if you're counting on Jacob Eason to win an important game late in the season, it ain't going to happen.
What about it?
I mean, I realize that they have a good defense and a good running game, and they can keep it close. But if you're looking for him to make winning plays and go mistake-free, that's going to be a tall order.
It ain't the old days. Defense doesn't win championships anymore. It's tough to say. So I know it's a crazy notion, but Cam Newton's around. He's on the market. What would you?
Not vaccinated.
Again,
same
thing.
Is that one of the reasons? Do you think the Colts would shy away from maybe bringing him in and signing him is because he's another one that's not vaccinated?
I think they very well might, because look, availability is the most important thing for a quarterback, and if you can't count on either one of your guys to be available week in and week out, that's a real problem. So I don't see them going in that direction.
So hypothetically, Cam goes out tomorrow and he gets vaccinated. Would that make him attractive to the Colts as a backup with Carson's situation?
You'd have to rearrange your whole offense though, because he runs a specific offense, and we don't have that.
Yeah, I don't see that happening this late in the preseason. Just we're talking 1 week. If it was a guy like Nick Foles, who knows the Frank Reich offense inside and out, I think you could make that case. If he became available and they wanted him. But for Cam Newton, I think you make a good point. I think that he is a guy who would have to, who would have a hard time in this offense, who would need an offense kind of built around some of the talents that he has.
Yeah, I mean, why didn't they go for Nick Foles? I feel like,
yeah.
I mean, what was the reasoning for not even?
Well, hell, I mean, Gardner Minshew just went to the Eagles for a 6th-round pick.
Right, exactly. For nothing, yeah.
Wouldn't you? And look, Chris Ballard is as good as there is at his job, but I personally, Mr. Armchair, know nothing quarterback here.
Yeah.
I would have dealt a 6th-rounder for Gardner Minshew. I mean, why you wouldn't want depth at your single most important position, especially when your quarterback A has an injury history and B is unvaccinated. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, right.
And to help propel Gardner Minshew in this aspect, he is someone that he's proven with the right characters and cast around him, he can be a really quality quarterback in this league.
Oh, absolutely, and especially against the Colts.
Yeah, he tore us up.
He's roughed up the Colts a couple of times.
What do you think about the Kiki Kuti, whatever his name is? He burned us. He burned us a few times.
He has. I mean, I have the only times I've ever seen this guy play is against the Indianapolis
Me too,
Colts.
yeah.
And he has always looked like Jerry Rice against the Colts. So I'm sitting here thinking, whoo, this guy's going to be a player for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's any good against anybody else, but certainly with T.Y. out, it makes perfect sense.
I looked on the PFF or whatever. I looked at his stats for the last, I think, 3 years. It's always the Colts. He's got 11 receptions for 120 yards. But against everyone else, he's just kind of two, 3 for 20 or 30, whatever. I mean,
he's not even. He's below average at best.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. He's a kid. He's a body.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like that's what happens to the Colts. We always, when we play guys, especially division rivals, you know, we've always had allowed breakout games for these guys. You know, the Gardner Minshew's, the Kikis. You know,
the Arian Foster.
Arian Foster had always torched us.
He had a big breakout game against us.
LeGarrette Blount. Remember LeGarrette?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I mean, It's funny how these guys just like. Everyone makes the name against the Colts, but hopefully this year our defense is looking fairly solid this year. So
they are. They're
looking really good. As long as we don't have any COVID issues or anything, like it's just, man, what's the actual protocol for someone that's been vaccinated that's had close contact versus someone that's not been vaccinated that's had close contact?
So if you have not been vaccinated, you have to stay away for 5 days.
Okay.
If you have been vaccinated, you don't lose any time with the team. You just have to get tested. That's all.
That's just
it's a big advantage. All the protocols are designed to make life really uncomfortable for the unvaccinated, as well as it should be.
Yeah,
that's the way it ought to be.
And that's I was thinking about that yesterday. They're saying sure, because the NFL's not saying you have to get vaccinated, but they're making it a hell of a challenge for the guys that aren't vaccinated to play, and if they come in close contact or whatever. So they're saying, sure, we'll let you make your own decision, but really, it's like
there's no decision.
If you're not,
it shouldn't be a decision.
It shouldn't,
and there shouldn't be this. They shouldn't have to put the carrot at the end of the stick,
right?
To get these guys to do the right thing, but. Look, everybody's different. Half the country's half crazy, as I said before, and that's just they're gonna stand by their principles, whatever they are. Hopefully, Anthony Fauci will do a house call to Carson.
That's what we need.
Talk some sense into it.
Hey, as Colts fans, that's what we want, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, anyways, I really appreciate you taking the time out, Bob. I know you've got your daughter's wedding this weekend. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. That's incredible.
But
I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay, guys, you can take care, and I'm gonna go grab a beer now.
All right, man. Take it easy,
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks. Be good.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
And that was Bob Kravitz. Hell of a call. I mean, great guy.
Does it get a whole lot better?
Man, he's an entertaining guest. Gotta have him on more often. Shit.
He's a incredible character, and he is as knowledgeable as it gets when it comes to Indiana sports.
Really, he knows the ins and outs. He knows everything. So, man, I think we're gonna wrap it up. We had him for what, half an hour? A little over.
We had a little over half an hour with Bob.
That's awesome. So I know he's got a busy week, and I really appreciate him being on because. He's got his daughter's wedding and everything. So he's got people in town. So for him to take the time out and talk to us about all this stuff, that's really awesome.
Yep. Congratulations to the bride and groom on your marriage.
Yep.
May God bless you with many, many years of happiness and love.
Absolutely. All right. Stay tuned with Mikey and Chad. We are out.
Thanks, guys.